Chiefs have won this incredible divisional playoff game in overtime.
All right, everybody, welcome back to KCCP, and I'm here with a friend of mine. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my friend.
Hey, everybody, man. My name is Jamil, Chiefs fan, man. I watch film. I dig deeper into like stats and all that type of stuff, man. So I enjoy watching the Chiefs, and I'm here to see what we can cook up and get into today on this wonderful, and much needed Chiefs win.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Before we get started, I do want to just bring up that you do some awesome artwork. Where can the people find your artwork, my friend?
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. If you look up artistjblee on Instagram, that's like my main page. I go to show people my work. So artistjblee on Instagram.
All your stuff's dope as hell, man. So hopefully people will get on there and check it out.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
With that, man, I thought I'd go over some team stats, and then maybe we could talk about that and start getting into our own personal thoughts here. So time of possession is the thing that I don't really get into very much because I think it's a lie. 26 minutes, 15 seconds for the Chiefs, 33 minutes, 45 seconds for the Niners. Offensive plays, 58 for the Chiefs, 72 for the Niners. 529 offensive yards for the Chiefs, 444 for the Niners. 9.1 yards per play for the Kansas City Chiefs, 6.2 for the Niners. 8 penalties versus 10, and then 84 versus 80. So if anybody's wanting to say that the referees decided that game, that kind of takes that away.
Nah, they didn't decide that game. They ass beat. But
That's true, man. 6 touchdowns is the real difference. 6 touchdowns for the Chiefs, 2 for the 49ers, and that really tells the story of the game. They had 3 field goals that they had to settle for. Our defense, bend not break, tightened up in the red zone, had lots of sacks. The D-line looked great. Chris Jones looked great. Lots of good pressure in there. There were times where just schematically there was good protection calls with the play actions and stuff where we couldn't get to Jimmy G, but for the most part, we got good pressure. What'd you think?
I did think they got good pressure throughout the game. I do think that this is just a testament to the coaching on Spagnolio's side of the ball. Like this defense, especially on this line, this is going to get better. Like one of those picks, if I'm not mistaken, that Garoppolo had in this game, and I think it was the one that he threw to Joshua Williams.
Yeah.
That pick due to George Karlaftis getting in it. And if you go back and run the tape on that, I want to say Karlaftis, he came through and he was by himself and he got right into his face. He got him down on the ground, but I think he kind of shook Jimmy. He wasn't ready for that, and he threw that pick. So, and I was so happy for Joshua Williams with that play. I said, man, get your confidence,
man. Yeah,
because you can tell he's a good corner. It's just that it's positioning. And I think the game, once it slows down for him a little bit, he's going to be a lot better once the game slows down.
Yeah, man, for sure. I thought it was good that he got in, kind of put in trial by fire last week. Yeah. And I had said that to some people on Facebook and such because they were kind of having a panic attack. The young man's a rookie out of Fayetteville State. Not to knock the competition level there, but there's some fantastic athletes down there, but you're not going to see fantastic athletes every single week with those guys. So
dropped 2 perfect balls in that situation too. So give Josh credit. I mean, he dropped 2 those were dimes that he put on those receivers. So you got to give him his credit on that.
Hell yeah, man. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. The pressure, Karlaftis, he's still leading all rookies in pressures, I believe, which he's not getting home yet, but I think that'll fix itself with his motor and just learning everything. I think it'll come through and he'll start getting those sacks eventually.
Right. I agree with that.
I just know, like, as a defensive end myself, like sometimes you're doing everything right. You're winning those pressures and you're beating the tackle across from you. And just for whatever reason, quarterback zigs and you zag or whatever, and you just miss out on some sacks sometimes, but it usually comes back around and you'll have a string of them every now and then. So nothing to panic about with George Karlaftis or any of. I love the rookies on defense, don't you, man?
I do, man. I love them from I think Leo Chenal is doing really good for what they're putting him into right now, just playing situational football. I'm telling you what, I'm in love with these corners.
Yeah, dude.
For all of them. Like,
they're my kind of corners too.
Big, fast, physical. Like, even Jalen Watson, I wasn't expecting much out of him, but I was like, wow, this guy is really good.
This dude's balling, man. Balling out.
He is balling, man. Like, you can't, he got a touchdown put on him today, but I don't think he could have did much about that situation. I mean,
did you see? I think it was Debo that caught that high ball on him. And man, Watson came in at just like a perfect arm angle, stuck his hand in there. I mean, he did everything possible to do. And maybe the casual fan says, "Oh, you got burned" or whatever. But like sometimes there's nothing you can do, man, about a good play.
But that was a hell of a play by Debo in that scenario. So he couldn't do anything with that.
Exactly.
But I'm loving these corners. I'm loving Karlaftis. I think that he's going to be, once he puts it all together, it'll probably be a year. It might not be this year, but I think next year when he's used to the game a little bit more, and maybe, again, I keep on coming back to this game slowing down. But once the game slows down for him, I really think that he's going to be dangerous.
For sure,
because he has a motor, man. He has a motor like no other, and he's strong as everything.
He's just a big damn German with all Jesus, man. Big old German boy, man. Just got all that farm strength or something, man.
He does. He got some country strong.
Yeah. For sure. Let's talk turnovers real quick. So we did turn the ball over twice. One fumble, that was the punt by Sky Moore, and I know you got something to say about that. The ill-advised pick. It was just a mistake. 3 turnovers by the 49ers, 1 fumble lost, and 2 interceptions. I'll let you go first, man. What do you want to say about the
I got a lot of griping I got to talk about with Sky Moore. I'm so tired of people on the internet talking about Sky Moore, man. Look, and I'm going to be honest. I told you this when I was coming home today. I said, you cannot continue to put him in bad situations and expect him to be legendary.
Yep.
The Chiefs are putting him in bad spots. The touchdown to Jalen Watson today, and the touchdown to Juju Smith-Schuster, both those touchdowns, the last touchdown Juju had in this game, those could have been schemed for Sky Moore to allow him to gain some confidence. And I mean, you can't continue to say that he's bad or he's this, that, or the other when he's muffing punts, and he was doing, if you was going to training camp, you were seeing him muffing punts in training camp. That's not who he is. He's not. He's a receiver. He's not a special team. He's not a perfect turn. He didn't do it in college. Yep. So, and I know they're intrigued with it because he got them legs like a tree trunks. He got 2 tree trunks. And so you're looking at him and it's he got running back legs, but he got speed like a receiver. So I'm intrigued to see what he can do in the return game. It's not working.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I agree. 100%, man. We got guys that can return punts.
Yeah, put McCall back there. He knows what he's doing back there, or put Pacheco back there. I think he did do some special teams when he was in college, but
he's returning kicks great. He had that long kick return today. Pacheco did.
Yeah,
and honestly, catching a kick isn't that much different than catching a punt. I mean,
right.
It's still that high angle, right? And that's what people struggle with is that high drop in angle, But that's punt's a little worse than kick, but
I'm saying I just look at. I said when you start, and I know you watch game film. When you look, correct me. Let me ask you a question on this.
Yeah.
When you go look at the film on Sky Moore, what do you see?
Strong route running, strong hands. And he's physically strong. I know that's a lot of strongs, but just that's what I see, man. The dude has really good change of direction. He has really strong route running, especially in the short areas. Because of his change of direction, he has really good footwork. His release is really nice. He has several different releases, 4 that I've counted on film, which is nice. So,
well, what do you think about, like, why are they not? I guess what I want to say is, and maybe I'm wrong on this, man, but to me, it doesn't seem like the coaching staff is doing enough to scheme him open.
I think this is typical of an Andy Reid receiver. I think there's nothing to panic about. I know Andy's philosophy is that receiver know all 3 positions. So he really should know X, Z, and F, and then also Y, because Y is sometimes a receiver, depending on the set. So Y and F are going to have similar routes, but each one of those positions is going to have a different route tree that they have to learn. So I think that's what's holding him back. I think that's why he's not getting the snaps that you and I would like him to get, because Andy likes to be able to put a guy out there, and no matter what he calls, he's good. He doesn't want to worry about okay, well, who's at X right now, who's at Z right now, and I think really Sky is a natural F or a slot receiver. And I think if you just let him learn F and let him be the slot, I think it'd be fine. But Andy's not into that, man.
No, I agree that he's a slot receiver. Like, I think I told you this at one point in time. I said I felt like he had a lot of Julian Edelman in his game.
Yeah, I see that.
When you look at him, I was like, when you look at him on tape, he has a lot of Julian Edelman in his game on those short routes. You can sit him over the middle and let him get yardage after the catch on those short routes. Like, I don't understand, like, why they're not giving him that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I agree, man. I think they should start putting him in there because I think he has a skill set that would just open up the rest of the offense. But I think also, too, what Andy might be protecting him from is a little bit of that towards the end of the year when they're really going to need that extra weapon, that rookie slump or whatever you call it, where, hey, man, these kids are used to playing 12 games a year. Here we are in week 18, or January, and they're used to being focused on other things, off season and stuff like that. So I'm not ready to say that the coaching staff is screwing this up, and I'm also not ready to say that Sky Moore is anything to be concerned over his development or anything like that. McCole, though, I know he had a big day, but I still kind of worry about him a little bit. I think he should have developed by now. It's usually that 3rd year.
I think McColl's hit his ceiling. I think, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. I mean, like, he's going to have in my opinion, he's going to have a long career in the NFL. Just ain't going to be here.
Depends on what he thinks he's worth. I mean, if he'll take a reasonable contract, I think he has a place here.
I will tell you this. I will tell you a player that I think he reminds me of a lot.
Don't say Dexter McCluster.
I'm not going there. This player had I think he had about a 12-year career in the NFL. He had a productive career in the NFL. There's a lot of Ted Gannon and McCall Harvin.
Okay.
And in him.
Yeah, I like that comparison. I actually like that comparison a lot. I think Ted Ginn was slightly bigger, but same kind of skill set, same kind of issues. Yeah.
Long career in the NFL. I think he had about 12 years in the NFL. You expected a lot. He got drafted
way high
where he shouldn't have been drafted at.
Mm-hmm.
So the expectation on him was high, and he hit a ceiling, and he's a slot receiver, and that's what he was. And
for sure,
and I think that McCall, And I don't think it's fair to, and I tell people this, and they don't want to listen to logic, but you don't compare McCole to like AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. Like,
no, man.
You compare McCole, like, according to his work he was drafted at. You compare McCole to like the other receivers that was drafted in his around him. So Whiteside and Andy Isabella.
It was DK though.
Both of them.
DK went a couple picks after him, didn't he?
DK was the first pick in the third.
So but he did go after McCole, right?
Yeah.
We could have took DK. Yeah.
So but I mean, there was, and fans don't want to hear this stuff, and a lot of fans don't know what they don't know what they're looking at. And I'd be like, do you understand the reason why DK wasn't drafted?
Change of direction.
Right. And he had a broken neck.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right, man. Yeah, they had medical concerns. The Chiefs don't really do that too often.
They don't deal with that. So It's just like, hey, it is what it is. But back to
I know people are stomping up and down right now saying, we have Justin Ross on the roster. We didn't draft him.
Right.
We didn't draft him. That was an undrafted free agent signing. Right. Zero risk.
So you don't have any risk in him.
Mm-hmm.
But Miko, like I said, I think there's a lot of Ted Ginn Jr. in him. And I think that's a productive career. It just won't be all in. I don't think if he takes a reasonable deal, I kind of be surprised.
I think I have. I'm going to be honest here, man. Like, I think I have some kind of emotional attachment to McCole Hardman. When I see the kid, he's always got this big, huge smile on his face. He just seems like such a vibrant person. And like, I see the dude and I'm like, that's a cool guy. I would like to have that guy on my team. And I bet he's a blast to be around. I bet he's a good teammate. And I could just, I've been around football all my life. I could tell that's the kind of guy I would want on my team. And I think that gets in my way a little bit of evaluating him objectively because I am a little emotional about the dude. I just want him to break out, man.
Yeah, I think he is what he is, man. I think his ceiling is...
That's fair.
He's a slot guy, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that you don't need two of them on your team.
Yeah. What about Valdez today, huh? MVS?
Man, Valdez, again, this is these receivers, man, just now getting in tune with Patrick. They just now in tune with him. And it's going to be, Joe, I'm telling you, it's going to be hell.
Oh, yeah.
If Juju and MVS start consistently beating man coverage,
oh, yeah,
what they can do, it's going to be a problem.
I really liked MVS's day, man. And it wasn't just the big catch down the middle. Like, he had another nice one on the sideline. He just did some nice things, man. And he was in position and he was where he's supposed to be. It just looked great. It looked like it was all in sync, like you were saying, getting in sync with Patrick.
Have you noticed, like, when MVS, or is it just me, like, the ball is thrown like slightly different to him? Did you notice that? Because I was thinking about this, and I was telling my son about this. I was like, Aaron, when he would throw the ball to MVS, Aaron got an extra. Like, if you watch how Aaron throws the ball, like when he throws it deep, it has a little extra hang on it.
Mm-hmm.
So he would let MVS get under it. You know what I'm saying? If you notice, Patrick is like, when he's throwing those deeper routes to MVS, throws it up a little higher, so lets it get a little hang on it so he can get under it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's helping him with his game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he's throwing that ball a little differently to MVS than what he does to Juju.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting. I just kind of watched that kind of stuff, but I think he had an amazing game today. I think we go into the bye week and he's gonna. I have big things for MVS in this offense because I think he's more than what they did in Green Bay. I think he's way more dynamic than that.
I do too. I think he got in the doghouse with Aaron, man. Like, one of my other friends, he's a 49ers fan, actually. RIP, Jay. Sorry, bro. We were talking about MVS, and he was like, it seemed to me when I was watching him with the Packers, like he just got in the doghouse with Aaron. Like he dropped some big passes, and Aaron's like, "Go sit on the bench," because you notice who was that? Christian Watson in Green Bay, since he dropped that big one, has not gotten back on the field, dude.
Man, they sat him all the way down. I was like, wow, he's not even playing, dude. Like,
yeah, dude. Rodgers was like, "Hey, Rook, go sit down."
can't get back. You're not getting back on the field. It's like
when you learn how to catch, you come ask permission.
Red zone there? No.
Oh, dude. I get it though, man. Like Aaron is at a stage in his career where he's not messing around. But they got a lot of problems to fix up in Green Bay, man. Like they're not looking good, and neither is Tampa.
No, man. Tom was like, he's done.
He's done, dude. But after he just said, "I'm not retiring anytime soon," well, you might not be playing in Tampa Bay. I'll tell you that.
Right. I was like, did he say that he wasn't retiring anytime soon?
Yeah, man, because the whole thing with Giselle and all that, he's like, "I don't have any reason to retire now," which to me is a little crazy. Like, you still got kids, homie.
I'm not care about his kids worth a damn either.
Right, like, "Hey, man, what do you want? Like, I'll buy you some stuff. I'm going back to play football."
Right. I was like, he don't care, boy. I was like, I don't know, man. He don't. And he had all his pieces. Like that's something to question at this point, because when you start to evaluate Tom Brady, it's like, okay, you have all your pieces, and you got beat by the Panthers, and
Bad with no Robbie Anderson and no CMC.
right when they don't have anything, and they put up 3 touchdowns on y'all.
Yeah.
And they got a boo-boo quarterback. And then,
Yes, sir.
I mean,
yeah, man.
What's your only option, to go to Miami? Is that what you're trying to do? Is go to Miami?
I mean, things are lining up that way where it might be available if Tua can't get well. I mean, I don't know what to think about the whole Tua thing. That dude might not be right after that.
I don't think he's back.
You don't think so? It's possible. It's possible. Sometimes guys just aren't right after a big concussion, especially if you went out there and played more when you shouldn't have been.
Right. He shouldn't have been playing in the first place. And I just don't like, because if he comes back and he gets hit again and it's another concussion, how does that look on the entire NFL? And how does that look on the Miami Dolphins at that?
Yeah, I hear you on that, and that's kind of the political side of the whole deal, and that definitely matters. I kind of look at it from more of like just the football aspect, and my deal is like, you have to know as a player and a grown man when you shouldn't be out there, and you clearly said yes to the questions that you needed to get back on the field. You said no to the questions you needed to get back on the field, knowing that you weren't feeling right.
All right.
You know, so I mean, I think there's a fair share of blame or responsibility, or however you want to word that goes to Tua before everybody else, because he is a grown man. You know, it's not like a teenager out here. The guys I coach or something, I got to look out for those guys a little bit more, because they're teenagers and their brain hasn't even fully developed, man. Like, they just want to go out there and get back in the game. And I get that, but you know, like, you're however old Tua is, what's he, 24, 25?
24, 25.
Yeah. You should know better by now, man.
Right.
I don't know. We got off on a tangent there, though. Let's talk. I'm gonna go over passing numbers and rushing numbers real quick, and then we can get back to talking here. So, for the Chiefs, 25 of 36 for 69%, 417 passing yards, 11.6 per attempt, per completion, 16.7, 3 passing touchdowns, the 1 interception that we talked about, 1 sack given up. That's a 2.7% sack rate. And passer rating was 124.4. That's Mahomes' numbers. Now I will talk Jimmy G, which he did have a good game, but we put him into, and this is actually all their quarterbacks, so this isn't Jimmy G's only numbers, but they threw the ball 46 times, and that's not what the 49ers want to do. 29 for 46, 63% completion rate, 343 passing yards. I think Jimmy G had 303 just by himself before they benched him, which they should have done. That was smart. It wasn't that he was playing bad. They're just trying to save him from injury. 7.5 yards per attempt, 11.8 per completion, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 5 sacks taken. That's a 9.8% sack rate. 26 yards lost per sacks. Passer rating, combined passer rating for both quarterbacks, 82.1. What do you think about the passing game, both sides, whichever side you want to start with there?
Let's start with the 49ers and their passing game. Like you said, for one thing, they don't want to be passing the ball like that. That's not – so the Chiefs really took them out of their element. I do kind of feel like I did like that. I did, I'm going to be honest. I did like the game that Brandon Ayuk had in this game.
Yeah.
He had a good game. And if I'm not mistaken, he might have had the most yardage of all those receivers on the field.
Let me pull it up for you while you're talking.
I did like the game that he had. I did like. What I don't like is I didn't like the way that I don't know, man. I just don't like the way that Kyle coaches sometimes, and I don't.
What about it specifically? Like just the play calling, or?
I don't like the way he puts Jimmy in positions. Like, Jimmy to me, he's not a quarterback that is meant for what Kyle likes to do. Like, I do think Trey Lance is great at that, and I think Trey Lance can throw the ball across the yard, but you can't be put. The thing is with Trey Lance, you can't put him in these running situations all the time because I think he's a little fragile. But you can't continue to put Jimmy into the situations you put him in. He don't have the arm to that. He don't have the arm. He's a good quarterback, but like that interception that got thrown to Williams. There's no way in hell that he had no business throwing that ball.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. I'm going to give you the counter argument, and I'd like to hear your response to this. Okay. So I think to defend I always jump to coach's defense, man. It's just my nature. So on that play where Jimmy G threw the interception in the end zone there, he didn't even look to the running back who was undefended because we were cover zero. And we were cover zero purposely not having anybody for the running back because we were bringing a blitz. And he ran a Texas route, I believe, and was wide open. But yeah, I don't know. I think Kyle would respond to that with saying, well, shit, man, he throws it to the running back. It's a touchdown. And it's just a dink throw, I don't know, man. What's your response to that?
Possibly, but you know how Jimmy is, though. Like to me, now you correct me if I'm wrong, because when I look at coaching, you should know your players.
Yeah, 100%.
Jimmy is, Jimmy's gonna try to go for glory. Mm-hmm. So if you know that, put him in position to do that.
And my other argument to myself here, the argument against Jimmy G on that play, I think, is you got to know that you're cover zero. You got to know who your hot guy is. And your hot guy on anything like that is you got to look at the alignment, who's aligned over your running back. I would have to look back at the tape, but I don't think anybody was showing that they were going to cover that running back. And even if you are, your Texas is going to be a favorite route to get out hot. Like, it just is. And he didn't even look in that direction, man. He looked at his favorite receiver. He looked at his favorite receiver and tried to force one in. He got pressure from the side where the running back was going. which your guys that are really good against pressure, like Patrick Mahomes, who is excellent against pressure, they're going to throw at the blitz. And that's what you're taught as a quarterback, throw at the blitz. And he didn't even look in the direction of the blitz. He ran away from the blitz and tried to force it into the teeth of the defense. So that's what you get out of that.
No, I'll take that. I'll take that. I guess I didn't look into it that deeply. I was just like thinking, well, why don't you put him in a better position? But I don't, to be honest, I don't remember the running back. I don't remember that on that route.
They did mention it on the Greg Olson pointed it out, actually. He's a really underrated announcer. I really like Greg Olson. He pointed it out on the broadcast. And maybe, later this week I might pop it up there just for fun. But yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, Jimmy G, I don't know if he just doesn't see things pre-snap very well and kind of predetermines, because it seemed like he was predetermined where he was going to go. There's no way he didn't know that was cover zero. They were showing cover zero. They were showing blitz. You got to know what's coming and throw at the blitz, man. So to answer your question, though, Brandon Ayuk did have a big day. He had the most receptions out of any of the 49ers receivers. 7 receptions, 82 yards, 11.7 per catch. George Kittle had 6. He had more yardage, 98, 16.3, and a touchdown. And then Ray had that weird touchdown. That was that one. Right. Jimmy G was falling down or whatever. Good for Ray. But yeah, Brandon Ayuk, man, to your comment, he looks good, man. He's a good route runner. He's got a really nice release. They showed that on the broadcast against the press there. He got right out of that press against a rookie, but he's nice. He's a nice piece for them. I know my buddy Jay, he's the 49ers fan I mentioned earlier. He's been talking Brandon Ayuk for the last 3-4 months, and I've been like, yeah, whatever, dude. But I'll have to admit that I think he's onto something there.
I mean, look, I guess my other thing is, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about the 49ers as far as but I do think that they have a versatile team. They have one of the most versatile teams in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It's just that
piece.
It's Jimmy, you got to take, and I'm saying he doesn't take advantage. I mean, Jimmy's been to 3 NFC championships.
Mm-hmm. And something like that. Yeah.
So he's been in 3 NFC championships and a Super Bowl. So you can't say you don't take advantage of his situations. But he needs to see things. He needs to do a little bit better than what he's doing.
Yeah. So before we stop talking about the 49ers completely, do you think there's any chance that once CMC works into that offense, because he looked good today, do you think that that's a Super Bowl team?
I actually think it is.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
I actually think they could get there.
I do. Yeah.
Because NFC is wide open, and that division is wide open. Is Seattle going to come out of that division? I mean, no.
I don't know, bro. Did you see them today on the Chargers, man? They were lighting the Chargers up.
Man, well, the Chargers are the Chargers. They
hurt.
Do Charger things. So
they're bad hurt. I think their year is almost just lost for injuries.
Today, JC Jackson.
Yeah, they benched him, didn't they? They benched him uninjured, correct?
They said he had a knee injury.
Oh, did they? Okay, I didn't see that.
They said it was like a significant knee injury, and they never else about it.
Jeez.
Yeah, so, they go ahead.
The Chiefs passing game, the 400 yards from Patrick Mahomes, and the 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's just Pat doing Pat things. Is there anything particular there you want to talk about?
Man, it's Pat being Pat. I mean, he went out there and had himself a day. He's a road warrior, man. That's what he is. He's not going to lose 2 in a row. He's better on the road than he is at home.
Which is weird, but it's true.
Right. I've never seen, I don't know any other quarterback that's like that they're better on the road than they are in their own house. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
I don't get it either, man. I don't get it either. With that, let's take a pause here and just start a new one so we're at a good place. All right, so we're back up, and we're talking about Patrick Mahomes doing Patrick Mahomes things, man, and being a little bit better on the road, weirdly.
Yeah, it's weird. Like for some reason, he's better on the road than he is at home. I don't know too many quarterbacks that's built like that. Like his mentality is, I don't know if it's like a little pettiness. I'd rather beat you in your own house than, you come in my house, you might get me. Ain't gonna be too often, but you might get me.
Maybe
but
you're getting that good loving at home, man. Hey man, I know some old school coaches that like they really believed that stuff, dude. Like they would tell guys before games, even when I was playing semi-pro ball, it was like, I won't use the language that they use, but basically stay away from the ladies before the game and all that kind of stuff, man. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
He might be, man. You never know. But he don't take too many losses at home, but he I don't know, man. Pat is just, he's wired different, I guess. You born with the, like, tell me this, because we're talking about this kind of game that he had, this is like actually becoming normal for him to have the yard plus games, 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. This is becoming like a normal scenario for him. Mm-hmm. And this is normal by any NFL standards. This isn't normal. Like, we have not seen anything like this before. Mm-mm. I'm starting to tell people that Patrick, there's a different, like these athletes, like they have like some of them have like this different place where they can get to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I know. And some people call it the zone. There's like papers that have been written about it, studies. Lots of people have actually tried to look into this, and you can see it with Patrick and Travis Kelce.
Yeah, they both have it. Right?
They do. And like sometimes like I'll get excited because I can see it when they're like that. And I don't know if you can. I'm sure you can. Mm-hmm. Like just like bam. And I'll be texting people. I'm like, oh, Patrick's going Super Saiyan mode, dude. Like, right. Look out.
Right. Can I tell people, I said Jeter was wired like that. Like, A-Rod was wired like that. Like Jordan was wired like that. They got this different place where they can go to, and just really.
Kobe was like that.
Kobe definitely was wired like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, God bless his soul. Like, but Kobe was definitely wired like that. It's just like Patrick has a different level. Mm-hmm. And that's not, you can't coach that. Either you got it or you don't.
Dude, it's the weirdest thing, man. And, I consider myself an okay average athlete. I had some offers and stuff like that. I don't want to talk about myself that much. I don't like to. But I think 2 or 3 times in my whole life I've experienced that. And it's a phenomenal experience. And I just look at Patrick Mahomes and he does it so often. It's like, how are you wired that way where you can just almost will yourself into the zone where you're just playing out of your mind and just can do anything on the field? Like, it's crazy.
But see, I'm starting to wonder, it's like, when does he go into that zone? Because like I said, this type of stuff is starting to become normal. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not in the zone. So it's like quarterbacks, like most of these NFL athletes, like that would be going into the zone for them. Mm-hmm. He's not into the zone when he does this because this is normalcy for him.
He was not in the zone at all today. I never saw him hit that zone.
Yeah, I don't think No, I don't think so. Because I look at that dude, and I've consistently said this. Like, if he's in the zone, there's not a defense that can stop that. Like, nobody's going to stop that if he's in that. Like you could see in that 49ers game second half, he was in there.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't do anything with him. But now I'm looking at it like the next level is what we would consider the zone is normal for him. So what's the zone?
That 13 seconds in the Buffalo game, I mean, he was for sure in it. I think we saw it this year in the Raiders game, where he just went freaking Super Saiyan and like was, nah, you guys aren't beating me, man. I own you.
Right.
And I get so excited when I see him like that because I just know like there is nothing you can do on the other side. There's no amount of pressure you can send. He's going to pirouette out of sacks. He's going to run all over the field. He's going to find some guy 16, 20 yards down the field and flip it to him like a nothing pass. I
think when he was in Tampa, he was in the zone. I think that was it that he wanted. He wanted that game, and Tampa could do anything to stop him.
Yep.
So
yeah, man, it's amazing to watch.
We watching history, man. You never... Man, be grateful that you in your city, man.
Yeah, exactly, man. And God willing, he plays till he's 45 years old. I'm praying, bro, please. At least if he's playing like that, man. Like, it's just so fun to watch, and I'm thankful that he's on our team. But even if he wasn't, I was thinking about, all the other teams that wanted him. The 49ers were one of them. Got another buddy I play Madden with. He's a Bears fan. He talks about him all the time. He's Patrick Mahomes should be a Bear, And I'd be watching him no matter where he was, and I'd be saying the same things about him. He's just that kind of kid, man. Like, it's just special. Just special.
Yeah, there's nothing. I don't think he needs to be compared to anybody. It's just these type of games that he had today. It's like, I'm just like, man, for a normal quarterback, this would be the zone for.
It's a career game.
Right, it's a career game for him, and this is like normal for Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't. Do you think they can get to a Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. The way the defense is playing and how young they are, I think, and just from looking at things, the way they've progressed in the past, the defense has always gotten better towards the end of the year. They started out better this year than they have in the past. So I think once those rookies really have a full grasp of what's going on and what Spags is wanting out there, I think the defense will only get better. And frankly, we're not fully healthy on the defense yet. So it was nice to have Willie Gay back today. I think we saw a difference there with him on the field and that speed and athleticism, because that dude's a freak. Yeah, I do. I think they can. And if the offense starts clicking like it did today, and we've seen it only a couple times this year where the offense clicked that way, if they start clicking that way on a regular basis, look out. And Isaiah Pacheco is going to be a piece of that, I think, in the future. So that's my cute little way to transition to rushing stats. 21 carries for the Chiefs, 112 yards total, 5.3 yards per carry as a group, 3 rushing touchdowns. 2 of those belong to McCole Hardman. Real quick, we did hold the 49ers. Their run game just wasn't what they wanted, but it was 21 carries, 101 yards, 4.8 yards a carry. No rushing touchdowns. That's the big one, I think. I think that's the big deal for holding them out of the end zone. And then Christian McCaffrey had 8 carries for 38 yards, 4.8 yards a carry, though. And that Jeffrey Wilson kid, 7 carries, 54 yards, 7.7 yards an attempt, man. And you got to think, if you're a 49ers fan, you're sitting over there like, why'd you get away from it? Why'd you get away from it? It was working.
Well,
on the Chiefs side. Oh, go ahead, man.
I can understand why they got away from it. I mean, when 49ers went up 14-3 at a certain point in that game, right? By the time halftime hit,
13.
Halftime hit, it was 14-13, right?
Yeah, 14-13. Yep.
Then the Chiefs came back and made it 21-13.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
No, we were up 14-13 because we only scored touchdowns. They were the ones with the field goals.
Right.
They scored that one touchdown, and then they kicked 2 field goals after that. That gave them 13. We were up 14-13 going into half.
When at some point in time, it was 24-13?
Sounds right, yes.
I would have got away from the run, too.
Yeah, I would have to look at the scoring, but it sounds about right. I mean, your point's made.
Yeah, I would have got away.
Chiefs are up, and that's not what the 49ers are built for.
They not built to they're not built to come from behind like that. You gotta. Well, they're not built. If they start getting down like 10 points or more, they not built to. They can't run the ball. They can't do what they want to do. So they got to get the points so they can get back to running the ball. But that just didn't fall into their favor this week. So I
wonder if they're listening a little too much. And I don't want to get too much back into the 49ers, but it's interesting to watch them because they're such a talented team. And when they do get away from the run, I wonder if people are just in their ear a little too much or in Kyle Shanahan's ear too much, and he starts to get away from what he wants to do because he feels like he can't go down and score with the run. But I feel like if you just stick with that running game, they're going to pop one big because they're so close a couple times, man. And you pop a big run, that's demoralizing on a defense. There's so much good things that happen from that. And you get to stay to your identity. I don't know. I just think I hear what you're saying. And I think that's kind of what everybody says is that once you get up on the 49ers, they got to start throwing. And then that's not what they want to do. So don't do it. Do it. Stick to you and keep running the ball and see if the game doesn't come back to you, you know?
Right. Well, let's talk about Pacheco for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I think this
carries 43 yards, 5.4 yards a carry tonight.
This is the second time I've noticed this. Have you noticed when he starts getting more carries?
Yes.
That this team pops 40 points?
Yes. So this is my biggest beef with. I'm actually gonna not blame Andy Reid for this. I am going to blame Eric Bieniemy for this because he's a former running back. He's the offensive coordinator. He has a say in this. He's not necessarily making all the play calls all the time, which means he has plenty of time on the sideline to manage things like this. And this is what I'm going to get to. As a former running back, I was a running back as well. I was a fullback, which is, I got a lot of carries in the offense that we ran. I always felt like I needed to get into a rhythm. And if you come into a drive and say you give me a carry, give me another carry, and then you pull me out for another guy and give him a couple carries, I can't get into that rhythm, man. Leave me. I need 4 or 5 carries to get into that rhythm, kind of feel what the defense is doing, feel how my line's blocking, and kind of feel where the holes are going to open up. And I know I'm saying feel a lot because it's an instinctual thing. Yes, you see it and you visualize it, but in order to be a really good running back, you have to feel that hole open before it opens, and that your eyes can't help you with that. It's just I feel like this guy, my guard pulling to the right, has the proper leverage to kick this guy out, and that hole is going to open there. I'm going to hit it as hard as hell. Or that ain't working over there. I'm cutting it back, And I don't think they've given Isaiah that 20 carry game yet. I mean, they haven't. That's a fact. It's not a thought. I think they need to give him a 20 carry game and see what he does with it. 20, 25 carries.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm starting to look at him. I'm starting to think, is he a linchpin? Because each one of these games where they didn't put up big numbers, he's been a focal point in the running game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to really think that he might be a linchpin in his offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a problem with Clyde. I really don't. I
thought Clyde looked pretty good today, man. He broke a really nice run for that touchdown.
Right. And I'm one of those guys. I'm not worried about, oh, well, he got drafted in the first round. You picked him at 32.
Yeah.
Shut up. You know.
I would just like to say, for the millionth time, Jonathan Taylor should be a Chief, but
no, hey, I'm not one of those guys that I pick on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Pacheco, from this point on, needs to be your starter.
I agree, 100%.
He needs to be your starting running back, because it seems like this offense flows better when he's in the game. It seems like the offense, I don't know what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not above reproach. Correct me if I'm wrong. It just feels like the offense flows better when he's in the game.
I feel that way too, man. It's something I've noticed from the beginning. I talk about Pacheco probably too much on this channel. People are probably tired of hearing about it from me. But I just see him, and it's like I see he has that physicality that I like from a running back. That's number one. Just the quick burst, the hitting the hole hard. There's no hesitation, but there's also this intangible feature to him where he just feels it sometimes, and he'll hit that crease that maybe you don't see watching the broadcast because you can't, because it's a 6-inch hole that turns into a foot that turns into, right through there. And the dude is special, man. He's special.
Very special. You can tell that he's special. And I'm just like, let him be special.
Yes.
Let him go out and be great. Because obviously your offense is running better when he's in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's telling me, again, I'm not above reproach. I'm not a coach or anything like that. So that's telling me that the defense respects him.
Mm-hmm.
The offense is running better when he's in there.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So they're expecting you to maybe run the ball when he's in the game, and now you're throwing the ball off to whatever receiver. One thing I like to see, because I did see this when I went to training camp, I want to see Pacheco get in the passing game.
They haven't involved him in the passing game very much at all lately, and it's not like he can't catch. The dude can catch.
I saw training camp. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw the same stuff, man, for sure.
I was like, you got to get him involved in your passing game at some point in time. And maybe Andy's waiting on that. You don't want to show all his cards. I get it.
Well, one thing, I know you watch RGR too, right? With Ryan and everything. I know something Ryan goes to a lot with this, and it's, I love Ryan. I think he's awesome, and they make great content over there. But something I will disagree with him on is that he says it's too hard for a rookie running back to get involved in an Andy Reid offense quickly.
That's not true.
Because it's complex and there's protection issues. And there's knowing your protections, knowing your routes, knowing your runs, all that kind of good stuff, which is true to an extent. All that stuff exists. All that stuff is hard. But to say that it's impossible is silly because Kareem Hunt exists.
Right. Kareem Hunt, on his rookie year, led the league in rushing.
Yeah, dude. And he was the focal point of that offense.
Right. And I also will say that Shady McCoy exists.
Yeah. Yep.
And he was tremendous if I'm not mistaken, he was really good his rookie year.
He was.
The only Andy Reid running back that I know of that got drafted into that system that wasn't good their rookie year was Westbrook. Took him about 3 years to catch on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to my knowledge.
I agree. And I mean, as a running back, your protections aren't all that complicated. I won't get into the schematics of it too far, but you're going to either have what's called a bob protection, which is big on big. And at that point, you're responsible for linebackers, blitzing linebackers. And then you have slide protections where you're responsible for the edge guy. So if you're in a full slide, the whole line is sliding protection to the left, let's say, then you're responsible for that right defensive end. It's really not that complex. I mean, there's a number of different protections. There's half slides and all that stuff, but it's really not. It's not rocket science, man. Ultimately, you just got to know. And he's a willing blocker, so I don't think protection is keeping him out. McKinnon's a great blocker too. I think that's more of what keeps him out of some of those passing situations than anything is. Not that they distrust Isaiah Pacheco, it's that they do trust Jerick McKinnon completely in the pass protection.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I want to see him. I guess I want to see him on a wheel route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
That's what I'm talking about. I want to see him on a wheel route. Like, I'm not saying like doing like they do Clyde, because I do see them line Clyde up like wide right at times. Mm-hmm. Or wide left. I see them do that with Clyde.
Clyde irritated me today, man, when they went empty and he wasn't where he was supposed to be, man. Like, dude, it's your third year in the offense. Be where you're supposed to be.
Well, that's why I don't think he'll be here next year. But that's just, I think that, matter of fact, I think they trying to, if I was a betting man.
They trying to trade him?
I believe so. I would believe that they was trying to move him.
I think they're trying to move him. I think they still are. I think that's why they started Pacheco and why Pacheco got first team reps this week.
Yeah. And I think he needs to be moved. Like, I'm not like I said, I don't have enough. I don't have anything that I don't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's all right to me. Like,
yeah.
I think you can move him. You'll be just fine. I don't think it's going to kill you.
I think you're better off with Clyde probably trying to get a player than a pick. You know what I mean? If there's somebody that you like out there, I think you're probably better off trying to get a player in return rather than a pick.
I would like to get a pass rusher, like, and put him into that trade.
Let's talk about that real quick because it sounds like Brian Burns is off the table from what I read earlier. They were saying that they turned down a team that offered 2 first-round draft picks.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe that at all.
It could be, yeah. You never know with this stuff, man. They could have put that out to try to raise the price.
Right. I was like, I don't believe that you turned that down. I really don't believe that, because I think if there was a team, let's just say the Texans. Mm-hmm. Where that team and said, well, I'll give you my first round this year and next year for Brian Burns. You gonna turn that down?
Hell no. No. Not in the state. Not in the state that the Panthers are in. If they were in a different state, yes, but not in the state they're in, because yes, I'd rather just take the picks and let the new regime just start over with all the guys they want, man.
Right. I don't even think it'd be Buffalo. Like, if Buffalo said, I'll give you 2 months for that, I don't think they turn that down.
Dear God, I would hope they don't need any more pass rush up there.
They don't need anything, but I'm just saying, still, I don't even think.
I lose my mind if they got Brian Burns. I'd be mad as hell.
You see you calling me right there. Whoa.
You put this in. You spoke this evil in.
You put this in the air.
Did you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
Oh, sorry. I got to burn some sage now.
Bro, so let's talk about because I love the running back room, and I'm just happy with them. Clyde had 6 carries, 32 yards, the touchdown, 5.3 yards a carry. I think Pacheco is really pushing him to perform, and Clyde's having a good year, man. Like, by anybody's standard, Clyde is having a good year. Is he putting up 100-yard rushing yards? No, because we split the carries with so many different guys. But he's giving touchdown production, dude. Both receiving and a little bit of rushing, too. So I'm happy with him. McCole had the 2 carries for 28 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. The jet sweep stuff. And Jerick McKinnon, I do want to bring him up because his impact was in blocking and chipping over there on Bosa, and I was just impressed with how much help he was giving to Wiley. And then when they called that screen that they had set up, because they were chipping him all day long, and then they faked that little chip and turned around with the screen. That was so beautiful, man.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I loved every minute of that play. I was like, man, I like Jarek, and I was so happy when they brought him back here. Because I remember saying to myself, I was like, there's a lot that they didn't get to do with Jarek McKinnon. Like, that I would love to see him come back here for at least one more year and see if they could do some more with him.
I'm actually completely fine with him finishing his career here, man. Like, I like what he brings. However long he wants to play here, keep signing him up for 1-year deals, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I hope he gets another contract here. Like, I would love to see Jarek McKinnon stay in Kansas City. Like, I think he's a great complementary piece to what we do here. I love to keep him here. He's a baller. He can play. He seems like he's a fit in the system. He seems like Pat loves him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So
I mean, your fantasy football guys are not going to like what we do in the run game, but the ultimate thing of it is like we got 100-something yards rushing out of the deal. And that's all you want, man. Like, I get it. It came from different dudes, but it's still 100 yards rushing, Yeah. And it came in different ways, and some was to the outside with the jet sweep stuff, and a lot of it was inside zone stuff with Clyde and Pacheco, and Clyde had that nice outside run actually too. But hey, man, I'm happy with the running game. I could we run a little bit more? Yeah, I'd like to see us run a little bit more, but I don't think Andy's
not like, so I would love to see him go 60-40. But he's not going to do that. I mean, and I question myself all the time. I said, would I go 60-40 if I had Mahomes?
I wouldn't. I'm just being honest. Like I said, former running back. I love the running game. But I know myself as a play caller, and I know I would just, because I am a play caller, I just know I would get lost in the, but we can do this.
See? Because Patrick is like, I feel like Andy finally has a guy that he could download his brain into. And
yes. That is a great way of putting that, dude. Yeah.
He got a guy that he can download his brain into, and like Patrick can go do anything physically that he wants to do. So everybody wants to see us run the ball more. I'm like, I don't think you would run the ball more if you was a head coach and you had Patrick Mahomes either. So
no. I don't think people understand, and it's my privilege that I do get to understand this even at a much, much lower level. I don't think people really understand how much of a kind of a zone that you get into play calling sometimes. And like, you'll get caught up, and it's dangerous because sometimes it gets away from you. And you'll be calling you really shouldn't be calling, but you're like, I know I can get this. I know I can get this. Because you know what that other team's running. You know the defense they're giving you. You know what beats that. And you're like, okay, if I can get a half a second more for the quarterback, we can hit this one big. Or, hey, let me run this screen one more time, even though they jumped it last time. I think we can hit it big if we get the blocking just right. And you talk yourself into things sometimes as a play caller. Sometimes it works out and you call just an amazing game, and you at the end of the game, you beat them by, however many points we beat these dudes today, and you're happy. And sometimes you end up on the other end like last week, and you're like, man, I should have called this and I should have called that. I got away from the run and I didn't call this, and I forgot to call more curls. I forgot to call more whatever. Didn't call enough smash routes, whatever.
All right.
It's hard. I said all that to say it's hard.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Like I said, I'm not a coach. I'm just a real fan of the game. I like stats. I like looking at stuff. I'm just like, I like looking at stuff through a different lens. But I'm like, I wouldn't run the ball a lot if I had that type of quarterback.
You're taking the ball out of the best player in the NFL's hands.
All right. You don't do that.
No.
Could Pacheco, I'm not going to say he would be the best player in the NFL, but could Pacheco at some point in time be like one of the best backs in the NFL? I believe he could.
He has the
But
tools.
I'm not pulling that ball out of Patrick's hand.
He has the tools. That 4.3 speed is woo. Did you see him on that kick return?
I did. I saw all of that, and I thought he was going to take it. And I was like, he is going to break one at some point. It's going to happen. And then at that point in time, he's a whole problem, because that's all the NFL needs is for him to turn into I'm going to tell you, you know the reason why I'm so interested in him in the passing game? Because I just want to see, because I remember when Tyreek Hill came in here, he was running back.
Yep.
And I'm just interested to see why'd you really give him that number 10?
I don't know, man. I don't know if he asked for that number or what, man. I don't know what is behind that. It's interesting.
Because I'm interested to see. Because the stuff that I saw when I was at training camp, and in my mind, I was just like, could this guy be like a more... Because 4.3 speed is still elite speed. Not a lot of players in the NFL got 4.3 speed. I was like, could he possibly be like a more physical version of Tyreek Hill?
He's certainly bigger. He's certainly bigger. I mean, he's a little bit taller. He's a little bit thicker. Slightly slower. Not that much slower.
And really, it's like a 4.3. If I'm not mistaken, it's like a 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's like a 4.38.
Yeah.
4.38,
4.37, something like that.
If you get with the right person, do you not think you can get that to like a 4.29?
So what I'll say about the 40 times, and I think we're going to see a little bit of this soon. As soon as the NFL moves away from that, everybody else will. But a lot of the lower levels of competition have gone away from the 40 times altogether. And they run flying 10s. So you get a little bit of a head start. And then they electronically time your 10-yard split time. Your start time, your 10 yards from a dead stop is really important. That's measuring your acceleration, obviously. So a lot of coaches at the collegiate level are more interested in, hey, what's your flying 10 time? And they want to know that. And I would want to know, I don't know what his flying 10 time is. I'd like to know what it is. I honestly would. So I might bring that up. But yes, the answer to your question is yes, you can work on that speed. But I think he's already there, man. Like, you don't really need to work on that speed, bro. That speed is God's gift.
I'm telling you, man. I'm interested to see if he can be just a more physical version of Tyreek.
Mm-hmm. It would be really cool to use him more in the passing game like that and bring him in, set him up in the backfield and then split him out wide, motion him out wide, just cause all kinds of mismatch issues. Try to get him on a linebacker, and then that's problems. Like you said, right? Like that's a whole ass problem.
Yeah. I'm just interested. I'm just interested to see if that can be a thing.
Me too, brother. Me too. So, sir, let's talk a little bit about the receivers quickly, wrap up with the defense. We got like 6 minutes left here. So, Juju Smith-Schuster, 7 catches, 124 yards, 17 per catch, and a touchdown. MVS, 3 catches, 111, 37 per catch. Travis Kelce, 6 catches, 98 yards, 16. He had the 1 touchdown taken back from him on the penalty. And then Jerick McKinnon had the big screenplay. Mecole Hardman had 4 catches, 32 yards, and the touchdown, which was also a jet sweep. And then Noah Gray had 1 nice 10-yard catch there. Everybody else was smaller catches. But those dudes all impacted the passing game. I will let you talk here for a minute while I count up how many receivers Mahomes hit.
I think this is the thing about Juju Smith-Schuster. I need him to continue to do what he's doing, because if he becomes this guy like we said earlier, consistently beats man coverage, it's a whole problem. Because if he's consistently beating man, and Kelsey can beat you in man coverage, if those two things can happen, I feel like teams are going to have to play more zone on us. And if we can get teams to play more zone coverage, Patrick is too smart for you to play him in zone. He's going to find open receivers all the time in zone.
Did you see that graphic during the broadcast where they were talking about we are the team second in the league? We see the most man, second most man coverage in the league. I worded that weirdly.
We gotta like make these teams come. And I don't know, it might be a thing to where they just play us in man all year. Regardless, it doesn't matter.
What do you do? Yeah, because I think the main reason, honestly, that we're seeing so much man is because they want to not let Travis Kelce carve up their zones, because he is nasty to zone. Not that he doesn't destroy man coverage as well, but like Travis is always in like wide open grass when there's a zone coverage. And it's I wouldn't even call it either. I just be like, we're gonna have to go man, and we're gonna have to get pressure.
Well, it's just like they were saying. They was talking about Travis in the broadcast, and they were saying like he runs his own. He has routes, and then everybody else has routes. So he kind of is doing his thing.
He is, dude.
And does something else.
He is, man. Like, and Greg Olsen, I was so happy when he said that, because Greg Olsen has enough stature as a great tight end to say that without coming off as insulting. Because Travis Kelce, a lot of times I don't recognize what route he's running either. I'm like, what the hell is that, bro? But it's always right.
Right. He's running. And I tell people that, I say, I think he's running it. I've said that a couple times to people, and they tell me I'm wrong. I'm like, no, I think he's running his own routes. Like, I think it's like loosely based on the routes that Andy wants, but I think he just modifies them, and like, I don't know, he does his own thing, brother. Like, it's weird, man. He might be
8 different targets tonight though for Patrick Mahomes, 8 different receivers. So we are running out of time here. This is gonna be like close to a 40-minute episode, man. I think the defense played great.
Yeah.
All the pressure, everything. I think we talked about it a little bit. Snead is awesome, dude. I'm so in love with the whole defense. I love it. It's young and fast, and you got like a minute if you want to sew up your thoughts on that.
I'm a talker, so I'm not.
Hey, bro, let's do this again, man. I really enjoyed talking with you.
I did too. Let's keep this up. Let's do this more.
Yeah, man. I would love to have a partner on here to talk, and I think it makes it more exciting for the show. So with that being said, thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being on. And like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you next time, man. And Jamil, I'll catch up with you real soon, brother.
All right, man. Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
I'm still fly, let's go. It could all be worse, I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Pills to make the man, but that poison's gonna chew you. From the inside out, so right now. Say it with your chest now, say it with your chest now.